Hey, I wanted to check a past live stream. So I think to do this appropriately, I need to set the recording device. This is the audio for my my earphone or my headset with a microphone in it. And this is the monitor, the digital microphone, the headphone. So this is the audio in the laptop. And then this is the monitor of the Plancktronics Blackwire stereo. I don't know what the monitor means in this regard. I wonder if I can change the output device. Check 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think that is the mic in my on my head. So I'm wondering if I just play audio from like a YouTube video. Let's go to youtube.com and watch a previous stream. Let's see if that audio will work appropriately with the output of OBS. So it's in this stream. I want to see if the audio here, if I can hear it. Okay, I definitely can hear it. There's a point where just messing around with the settings of the audio, and then I do like a weird choreography thing. Okay. I guess like around here. We'll talk about chickens. Okay, I think it starts. I just turn on this like copyright free music. So I'm like wondering how I like the composition of it, of the video. Like I think it would be like a fun way to write code. Like sometimes like people like to have like intellectual like toys on their desk to basically fidget with, like a Rubik's Cube, or sometimes like those like weighted spinners, or like magnets, like some like magnetic system is a pretty common one. But HackMatrix kind of serves that purpose. When I used i3, I would notice myself just like flipping quickly through the windows or the screens on i3, and so I wanted to like illustrate like how fast and snappy this feels, like HackMatrix feels when it's running on a proper like hardware. And so I recently got this laptop like a week ago, and I'm sitting here like just streaming, I don't know, like trying to show off the capabilities. And for some reason I just decide like the coolest thing about this at the moment for me is that like I can just like blast through in 3D to all my screens, and that fidget toy that I had on i3 literally just became like this 3D navigation toy. It's like this hyper fast like transport toy. Like, I mean, it sounds like kind of like childish. Like, I'm kind of like giggling about this like software toy that I created, but like it's kind of a fun like tool. So it like doesn't distract me in the same way that like a desk toy that you like, you know, a fidget spinner or, you know, a Rubik's cube that sits on your desk. In the same way that that's not distracting to work. Like if I have a ton of windows open and I'm just bored, like this in itself is just cool. And it like feels like it's a distraction. And at the same time I'm like, if I have the right windows open, like I can think about the problem quickly. It's like walking through a forest of like, it's like the same benefit of walking through a forest in a like somewhat similar way, but I'd like walk through an enchanted forest made of like the thing I'm working on. So it's like it's a very strange concept. I really like being outside and camping and like backpacking and such, and that like really drove me into mobile computing, which involves 3D space. And so that got me into like 3D programming, and I just wanted like a 3D virtual space to work and program in, and run simulations in, write scripts in. I mean, these objects are programmable. Okay, so if I press dot, it's like if I look at something and press the dot button, it will load the script. Unfortunately, I can't demo this at the moment. My new laptop, I have not been able to get the HackMatrix Python API client lib to install appropriately. But once I get that installed appropriately and set up on this laptop, I'll be able to walk up to an object and pop open its command center. So like some sort of like terminal-based app, or like a snippet of code, or just whatever you need for the keys, you know, project, or you know, the keys life, the keys spirit. It can correspond to a project. It can correspond to a lot of different concepts. But for the key, its thing is that it has code. So its project is just this script. And so this right here, if I do this and I run it and I had the API working appropriately, it would move. There's a video of it. And if the key was aligned, the key has to actually get aligned into the keyhole, because it has a sensor in here. It doesn't display it, but when the key is turned in the appropriate place in the keyhole, it unlocks the door. So that is its script. And so, yeah, if you do this and save the file WQ, it runs the object script and it does a thing. In this case, if the key is prepared, it will open the door. But anyways, I wanted to just test the audio on this. I really think the script here, or the video that I filmed was quite enjoyable to film. And so I'm going to, I think, clip it and like post it places. One thing that I need to add to this 3D desktop environment is, so in most environments, like they create a window border, right? And then you can go up to the window border and then, like, you know, click on the X button. In this system, you can't do that because the window border and the X button and all of that is the window manager's job. And I was like, I don't want anything extra. Like, I have pkill, which just takes, like, this is PAVU controller. And I think that, if I can spell it correctly, will kill it. Maybe I misspelt it. But if I just do pkill PAV, it kills it. Anyways, I have that tool available. So I should use that, I think, to conserve the amount of work that is required, or to rather conserve the amount of work that I have to do other things. So I just never got around to implementing those features. And I don't even have hotkeys to kill windows. Like most systems have, like the tiling minimalistic systems have, they have, oh geez, hold on. Speaking in my ear, myself is, my own voice is speaking in my ear because of this stream. Anyways, paused it. You probably can't hear it. I doubt you can hear the audio from this. But anyways, I wanted to clip that video, the I Love HackMatrix video. I'm going to add this to the current live streams blah. Your audio is good now, the volume, that is, I can hear you, and I don't know if you fixed it or something. Yeah, I think there's a stream of me that has shown me, that shows me fixing this. I think it was like the last stream or something, I'm not sure exactly. Anyways, it says I can download this. How can I download this video because it's my video, or can people download my video, or is this going to be like some weird DRM file, or like, it kind of freaks me out that I can just literally download this video. Like, just download the video. I mean, it's cool. I think it's okay that, like, if YouTube opened up their platform to just literally just download MP4s of like all of the YouTube videos, like I think that's okay, and I would use it because I think that's actually a pretty cool tool. But if it just gives me some DRM crap that I can't open appropriately or like edit appropriately, it's going to make me upset that they even had this feature added. So hopefully it's the former. I really like this tool that I have built. I think it makes, I was talking about it being like a programming toy, or like a sort of mental, like, fidget toy. I mean, it's, if you get a clicky keyboard, it's like quite kinesthetic as well. It's just, and it's very audible. It's fun to like just navigate this space. I mean, it feels like a video game, I think, which is one of the things I wanted to gamify my workflow. I wanted to gamify robot development, mostly because I was like rather, I don't know, like forward thinking in the way that I like was using 3D printers for like robotics prototyping, and I think that was just like due to the timing of which like I got skills in robotics, the like rapid prototyping 3D print design space like really opened up as being like manufacturing feasible around the time that I got into robotics. And so like I was just taking a very rapid prototyping mindset into robotics, and sort of that rapid speed of like not really taking my time for a single product, but really just trying to like build a thing, print it, get it to do its job, build a thing, print it, get it to do its job. Like I did that as a cycle, as like something that like I could put a counter to and say, I built this robot, I built this robot, I built this robot, I built this robot, in like a rapid prototyping sort of like cyclical, sort of agile like type development flow, but with something that historically has had like a sort of batch processing flow. It was like a really interesting experience that caused, I think, a lot of burnout for me. And so I wanted the ability to like network with people through robotics. And it's difficult to like, I tried going to like big cities. I tried like trying to find like maybe like less niche, technical spaces, like sometimes like maker spaces. Like some of them do robotics, but none of them were like churning out like I don't know, monthly like robotics projects in the way that like I was just like, it was a really weird thing. Like I had never seen any like person just churn out robot after robot after robot in this like prototype fashion and like document it, or like I just didn't see anybody doing it. And I think if I had a system like I do now, where I can stream that, and like it's not only streaming, like I'm streaming my position to an RPG server, and we can stream world data to each other, and the client can read it and can create shared like RPG workspaces. That's something that like I sort of wanted when I was like, for the decade that I worked in robotics, like basically from like when I sort of started like college until I would say like really when I started getting into web design, and even beyond that, like even when I was doing like full stack development, like at startups, I was still doing like robotic design. I was really getting into like buying the hardware and just feeling what the like financial requirements would be to go through a prototype process. One of my mentors taught me, like, because I came from the rapid prototyping world, I would use just materials like for each individual iteration, like that consumes a lot of materials, and so I would just like expend like large amounts of capital just buying materials to build robots with in this rapid prototype world. And so I took that mindset into his shop, and so I designed this thing, and I'm like, I'm ready to like cut it. Let's get it built. And I start like getting the materials, and I start cutting shit, and he's like, hey, don't do that. Like, you have to chill. Like, we need to approve the design. We need to get this, we need to ensure, like, after you manufacture, there's not problem, there's no problem that's going to, arise. And I was like, yeah, people do this, okay. And I just sort of calmed down a bit about it, and so I sort of decided to take like a sort of hybrid approach in my rapid prototyping, where I will get pretty deep into a design and like try to postpone buying the hardware as much as possible, and then like once I know that like I have a sort of cohesive system, I'll buy the hardware, even if I don't think, like, even if there are still flaws. I really still like that rapid prototype approach, but I sort of have learned, like, maybe like right now is not the best time to get like the really cool processor that like you think is going to go into this before you have like the full design. And like sometimes I justify that with, well, I can set up the processor and like program it and get it running, which is pretty cool. I think it's a good strategy. So maybe sometimes I will buy the processor, consciously knowing that, and that's like I think a decent decision. But sometimes it's just like, well, maybe I don't actually, like, I'm not going to even put in the time to program this processor right now. I'm focused on this other thing that is part of the system that's like really caught my interest, and then I'm like, well, okay, maybe I don't actually need that, that microprocessor that like, may not even be the correct, might not have the correct GPIO, or, it might not run fast enough for the type of, system I'm building, or like I actually tried to use as the root onboard real-time system that I could also have a shell to log into. The environment I chose was Clojure, and I installed that onto a Raspberry Pi, and I would boot into the system to control robot using basically a common list, or Clojure REPL that had like a server that you could send commands to using your own REPL running on your laptop. So I could like remote log into this this daemon's process, and then just like boot Clojure, a Clojure REPL to like communicate with it. It was incredibly slow to even get the Clojure runtime booted onto the Java application, or into the Java context, and then onto the Raspberry Pi. It was such a huge pain, and I was like, okay, maybe Clojure is like not the right, it's not the right runtime for this like real-time type stuff, unless I have like a really beefy machine. So it's like, if I were to buy a processor like a Raspberry Pi, when I like know for a fact, like, we wrote all of this code, and Clojure is like, I built this entire daemon, and this isn't hypothetical. I built like a sort of robotics OS / AI that you could communicate. Like, I wanted an interface to communicate with my robots with. I was going to upload it into my BB-8 robot. I wanted to communicate with it in real time, verbally. That's the C++ version. So I built this. This is a little box that I put it in. But there was a BB-8 robot that I built the system for, Um, but yeah, so I went to go boot this like on the Raspberry Pi, and it was just so incredibly slow, just so slow. Um, I was like, this is, the boot time I think was the worst because Clojure has like this just massive like runtime that everything sits on, which is fine. Like it's a cool, like it's like a pretty hyper advanced like language. Like it's the semantics that they have programmed into it with their spec, like it's a really interesting sort of approach to like how to build a programming language, and that's like it's pretty advanced and it's pretty cool, but they can't like the runtime just wouldn't work on a microprocessor, single onboard chip or whatever, SoC, or whatever those are called. The Raspberry Pi is getting faster these days, so I think that will probably resolve. Like I could probably boot this, and probably the runtime got faster too. But yeah, so these days I would probably try to constrain the hardware resource and use it as a sort of a tool of constraint, which is what I did with HackMatrix. So there were some things that I was doing with voxels. Voxels are just like notoriously difficult to store, like in memory. And so I wrote like a pretty bad implementation of voxels in the HackMatrix code, and there's still some residue of it. But like the voxel system I came up with, or that like it's kind of weird to say even I came up with it. Like there was a lot of communication with like I think it was OpenAI's like GPT-3, and then like some communication with Claude's AI. That really like there were things that like I learned through that process that like it's an interesting place to be in the computing world where like you can ask an AI to help you build something like this, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, let's do that. And of course, like I'm personally in a good position to be able to like do that type of thing, because I myself am like I've been prepping for like I don't know the next technology wave for I don't know since like I guess my college years. It's when I really got into like open source stuff, and yeah, I've been personally prepping for the hyper advanced like singularity tech that we know has been in the works for years. I read, let's see what this book is. The Singularity is Near. I read this in college. I just one summer basically lived. I didn't actually live in. I've lived in places like a robotic shop that I literally lived in. And so when I say I lived in Barnes and Noble, that's not one such place. I basically spent a lot of time in Barnes and Noble when I think it was like the summer of 2012 is this period of time, and I spent a lot of times in the Barnes and Noble and just reading whatever I found interesting. I had just built a really fast desktop gaming engine, and I was like, "Whoa, this is incredible tech." And then that summer, I spent just reading tech books and I learned how to write basic HTML sites with a little bit of JavaScript. It wasn't until a year after that that I started doing JavaScript. But anyways, this book absolutely sort of changed the way that I looked at how at least the material world that we call Earth could possibly evolve if there is no spiritual superstructure that like basically has us transcend out of our current paradigms. Essentially, like there could be some alien that, just to use like a very material interpretation of this, there could be, let's say, there could be some hyper advanced civilization out there that has discovered how to modify some physical constant, and now like they have changed physics, and like they could reveal to you that they have this technology, and they can show you how to break physics, and it radically changes the civilization as we know it, that type of stuff. So that's like one such interpretation of the content of the thing that I'm trying to deliver, which is that there could be some, let's say, abstracted spiritual force that causes such things like civilizations to be able to, let's say, modify the existing rules of a system, let's say, of the maybe universe that they're currently interfaced with. Let's say that. So they can modify the reality with some hyper advanced tech in this interpretation that I'm giving this to you. But I think there are other systems of abstract nature that could probably also do such things. But just to use the abstraction, in such a world, I am unsure if this particular version of the technological projections that we have that are outlined in this book will come to fruition, because this is a very sharply pointed trajectory, I believe. This particular concept of the singularity. But I do like that one of the things that Ray Kurzweil has admitted about the singularity, as he has named it, the technology singularity specifically. It's more than the mathematical abstraction. Ray Kurzweil, has admitted that there is a time horizon, which I think the singularity, sort of the name that he created, captures this. There's a time horizon past which he doesn't know what sort of trajectory could even be taken. And so there's this hyper increasing technological capability that basically makes the future system so chaotic that we just can't predict past the point with any certainty. Essentially, it's what he describes as a singularity. And I suppose what he's saying is that even the perception structures in the singularity perhaps can't even project what's going to happen in the singularity, meaning that it becomes so advanced that even the advanced creatures living in it can't figure out exactly what's going to happen in the future. Which even I think more aptly the name more aptly represents the content of the book. If that is like the idea. But The Singularity is Near was a great book for me to read. I was like, okay, so basically the ticket onto this ride, and by ride I mean like this is an energy wave that's sort of coming into our reality. It's neither like it doesn't have it's a wave of energy that had intention to create it, but the wave itself doesn't necessarily have intention. It's sort of an intentionless sort of flowing water that one can then imbue with intention. And so this very strong and let's say hyper accelerating wave of energy, it's more than energy. It's condensed, but also transcends any. I mean, it's spiritual energy in a way. Like it's hyper intelligent energy. Anyways, there's a wave that is being created, and we get to, if we ride the wave, we can take its energy, or rather be guided and pulled along in its energy. And so this hyper accelerating AI technology, singularity, I think the key words that Kurzweil called it was information technology, I think is the scope of the basically contents of this book. Just every time he just said the technology, like information technology, like that's the thing that is going to accelerate. So I saw that and I was like, okay, I am going to get incredibly good, or at least attempt to get incredibly good at this thing, this technology thing. And I had already, by that point, written code to drive robots around and navigate via light sensors on the ground, and like compile code to upload it via Bluetooth to these bots. And I thought that was kind of mind-blowing, and I was like, I'm totally cool with learning how to like get really good at building things with code. And so, yeah, I think I'm gonna, all that to say, I did that, spent like a decade getting like really good with like cybernetics and how code can create cybernetics and how, yeah. And so if you want like a rundown of what cybernetics is to understand that, the new wiki page is not super great at explaining it. They have changed it, but whatever. I'm not super angry about how they changed it, but they used to have basically like a categorical sort of like outline that described all of the branches of cybernetics, but it was funny because like cybernetics is an abstract concept that is pulled into many professions, and so it seemed sort of redundant to just name. It's like saying like all of the industries in which like a particular wide branch of mathematics is used. You're just like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, thanks for the addition page, like just being everything where addition is used in the, in the profession. It's kind of a crazy concept to do. I'm not saying that cybernetics is like anywhere close to addition in terms of importance, but it's just funny that it's like sort of a niche profession, and they just started saying, "Oh yeah, we were used in like blah 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 industry," and they just put all of the links to that in the cybernetics page, all of the various industries they touch. I mean, it would be a weird thing to do that for the, edition page. Although I think it's useful to like it if you see where like addition's actually really super useful. It's useful. Um, so for cybernetics, it was useful to me to like sort of fall in love with the concept of cybernetics because I saw all of the various like industries in which it could be used, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And like I thought about like which like form, which avatar of cybernetics I would be now. Like, am I the politician cybernetician, the political version, or am I like the, or am I like the biology cybernetician? Because they like had that profession as listed like biology cyberneticist or whatever, like biology cybernetics. I was like, I want to be able to like go into each specialty and do this one like niche branch of mathematics on it. Anyways, so I got into cybernetics so I could sort of ride the wave of this particular worldview that seemed like it was going to just like be a seriously powerful wave, and I think it will be. This is the new one. The singularity is nearer. Okay, I don't know if I want to read that particular book. But okay, what to do now? What was even the point of this particular stream? What did I name this? Watching a past live stream. Okay. It was this past live stream that I was going to watch. I'll maximize this actually. And I want to get the audio working again. You guys can hear me, so that is good. I just want to make sure that, oh geez, can you hear me now? Okay. I just got audio input. I actually want the audio output to go to, I think I have to actually turn on the audio first for that to work. Okay, so this should be audio output now, but it needs to be the system monitor. Okay, so the problem is that the video itself, it doesn't have audio here yet. Okay, here's audio. Can't turn up the volume anymore. Oh. Okay, so the problem is that it's actually outputting audio. Okay, I need to output the audio to this. Just turn this up really loudly. Okay, here it is. I'm going to see if we can pick up the audio this time. because I think I played this for you guys on the stream, but the audio was not getting picked up. I don't think it's loud enough. I do think this is a pretty cool stream video that I'm playing back for you guys. It sort of reminds me of the like old graphic tech, the graphic tech demos. They used to do these, or they still do, but they're like 3D graphic tech demos. So like me computing to music like this makes it sort of feel like such a thing. What's funny is I did not expect this particular song to come up when this like I wanted to do this. I was just like, I just wanted to turn on like a particular genre of music, and this playlist didn't exactly capture it. But I was like, okay, it's somewhat close, but not really. But I'll take it. And so I played the first song, and it was this one about royalty, and I'm like, oh, I definitely want to do this for this song. And you can check out all of that on the stream. It was like where are we at? Like 15 minutes?
Last song was like...
At some point I was doing like contra dance. I was streaming contra dance music.
Chill jazz piano. Chill jazz piano. Same album. Honestly, you probably won't be able to hear it. last song was like, it sounded like chickens crowing because it was like fiddle music. This one's a little more like chill jazz.
Oh, yeah. I was like, just give me streaming music. I was like, NCS. I think they're like a very popular like electric or electronic dance music or something. And so I just pressed play on the top song on this playlist. I was like, let's just dance to this one. Or I say dance, but you know, it's like a choreography. I arranged the windows so it would get like interesting rotation when it goes to focus them in that hotkey way. So usually, like, the rotation plane here is usually just one axis. But in that, I think it was like at least 2 axes, maybe 3. I think it's probably just 2. It's difficult to get a 3-axis rotation to work well in a 3D engine. So I think it's just a 2D axis rotation. But it's still cool to get the other axis. But most of the teleports I create now are you know, just these 1D rotations. I think all of the Chromium windows, they have this weird thing where like one of their rotations is like pinned to each other, so they're like all perpendicular, I think, in the particular axis of the rotation, maybe, or maybe that particular axis is like pinned, I think. And when I make this video full screen, it literally just becomes this flat full screen, like borderless thing. I think it may mess up the zoom a bit. My T's are sort of like spitty now. I think I lived in New York and they have very hard accented T's at the very end. And so now I'm just like at the end of my words. I am happy that this song was the first song that got played on that playlist. I do like Regal Sentiment. Even if it's wrapped in you know, an electronic dance pop song that sort of, you know, makes it profane. I do appreciate Regal Sentiment. And also, even if it's in like the pop song is like narcissistically, you know, profaning it. And I think this song is appropriate too. Maybe you guys can't even hear the song, but it's like I live in my own world of make-believe. And it's like, I can make 3D spaces now that like I compute in. Like it's kind of appropriate. That's all to that. I do like that I hard-coded the 0 to be just move me to this position excruciatingly slowly. And so I can just teleport off into the distance is essentially what that does. That's the make file for the IDEs. Unfortunately, I can't use that script because Python, the client library, is not installed yet on this laptop. Anyways, I think that's all of the stream that I wanted to show here. So, adios, goodbye.